Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Note to Self. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to ask one small favor. If Note to Self has supported you, inspired you, or helped you see yourself or your life a little differently, leaving a review truly goes such a long way and means a lot to me. It helps this work reach the people who need it, and I'm so grateful for every single one of you. Thank you for being here with me. So if you could just take a moment and click onto the rating on Spotify or Apple Podcast, it would mean the world. So let's drop into today's episode because I've got some really good, what I'm going to call treasure or gold to share with you, because it's something that's really shifted things on an energetic level for me, allowing me to feel more into wealth consciousness, feeling richer, feeling more abundant on a regular basis. And it's all energetics here. It's all looking at things differently. So today I'm going to talk about this thing that's been quiet but powerful in shifting my relationship with money, confidence, and leadership. And that is resourcefulness. And I want to take a moment to reframe resourcefulness, because I'm not meaning resourcefulness as in a cut back, restrict, or deprive yourself way, but in a deeply empowering way. So in life, I don't feel like I'm lacking. I don't feel like I'm living in survival mode. I have been feeling a lot richer. And what I'll say is that this has been over the course of a year that I've really started to notice this energy integrating more deeply. And the word that has kept coming through for me is resourcefulness. So we don't often associate resourcefulness with wealth consciousness. A lot of people might associate it with scarcity, such as I can't afford that, or I have to do everything all by myself. And that's not what I've been experiencing at all. For me, resourcefulness and actions that represent that or have me exercise that have felt like a deeper level of self-trust. It's felt like sovereignty. It's felt like remembering I am capable, I can figure this out. And that energy is wealth consciousness. And I wanted to share this with you today because there was a previous version of myself. I can definitely see this in entrepreneurship. The way that I used to operate was that if something felt like, I don't want to do that, like the littlest inconvenience, I would hire somebody to do that. And that was great. That was very expansive for me, but it didn't actually encourage me or allow me or provide me the opportunity that I would be giving myself to actually learn and develop greater skills. So that's just an example here. A small entry point that I can speak to that doesn't have to do with entrepreneurship is doing my own nails. I recently in my life started to do my own nails in the last year, I would say. But before that, I would consistently be going out and getting my nails done. And on the surface, making this decision of doing my own nails, it's a small shift, right? But energetically, it was a shift. When I made the decision, it wasn't about saving money. It was about asking a different question. What am I actually capable of? And where have I been outsourcing things by default instead of by choice? So doing my own nails has become this ritual of self-love, self-care, self-trust. It's actually fun and creative for me, and it's brought me back to the basics about really tending to myself energetically. It consistently reminds my nervous system that I don't need constant convenience to feel put together, worthy, or abundant. I just am, and that feeling has begun to ripple. So we live in a world that sells convenience as success. I shared with you briefly how that's a lot of how I used to operate in terms of my business and being an entrepreneur, is that, okay, if I have the money, if I have this resource of financial abundance, I'm going to pay for it to just, hire a person here, there. But convenience, when unconscious, slowly erodes our sense of capability. And resourcefulness, and what I found for myself personally, is that it brings that capability back online. It asks, what is available to me right now? What could I learn? Where could curiosity replace reactivity in my life? And what I mean by reactivity is not like an emotional reaction. It's just like not throwing money at something that is a minor inconvenience that I could probably learn myself. And each time that I ask those questions, whether it's in my routines, my finances, or in my energy, I have felt more grounded. I have felt more calm. I have felt more confident. I have felt more abundant. Now, once I started asking these questions in small areas of my life, they naturally expanded onto bigger ones. And at one point, I asked myself a much bigger question. How can I completely transform my business expenses? What's actually available to me, perhaps that I haven't explored yet? Like, where can I be smarter, right? Where can I make some moves here that would actually benefit my goals more, right? So this year, a lot of my bigger goals are around saving and investing. So how can I transform, let's say, some of these business expenses to put more money away in my investments? And these questions weren't from a place of panic. They were not from a place of lack. They came from a deep level of leadership and self-leadership, of being able to be emotionally detached from my business in ways. I think, speaking into entrepreneurship again for a moment, I used to take my business very personally. And over time, I've just naturally detached when I've caught myself sort of building these connections or meanings to things that doesn't need to be there. And that has allowed me to have a bird's eye view. Okay. And from the bird's eye view, I can make better, more intelligent decisions that actually come from this space of true leadership. And I realized, right, when I was getting curious about my business expenses, that there were expenses I had simply just accepted as the way things are. And that's not wealth consciousness, that's autopilot. Okay, so one of the biggest shifts that I personally came to when I decided to, look at things differently is I've recently moved my business over from Kajabi to System.io. I had been on Kajabi for years, since I started my coaching business. It worked. It has been what has been familiar. But when I slowed down, zoomed out, reviewed my expenses, and allowed myself to explore other options, everything changed. This is very recent. Those of you who are in my programs and courses, you probably got an email from me last week, or you did, if you are in any of them, just letting you know that I've shifted my software over. And just to give you, like, in full transparency, by switching from Kajabi to System, I'm now saving $3,600 per year. Okay. And that money didn't come from hustling harder. It didn't come from forcing more income. It simply came from seeing things differently. And, I'm speaking into entrepreneurship, but again, this doesn't have to be just for the entrepreneurs out there. Like, anywhere in your life where you're like, can I do things different? Like, start to get curious, right? Because when you decide to have a lens of curiosity, judgment can't exist, right? There was a previous time when I was judging myself about, like, not being able to figure things out, right? But when I came at things from a lens of curiosity, that's when possibilities and solutions came to me. And that's the case for each and every single one of us. You may find that when you're in judgment, right, you're not in curiosity. When you're in judgment, it creates a container. There are ceilings. You're in a box. But when you decide to zoom out and just look at things from a lens of curiosity of like, what's possible for me, you can find incredible solutions. And what's great is when these solutions align with your greater goals, right? I shared my greater goal of investing, me switching from Kajabi to System. Oh my gosh, it's been incredible. Those of you who have been in the Digital Nomad Academy, that's where I share my behind the scenes of my business and all of that. If any of you have questions about System, like, just know that I'm always available. You can reach out to me. But back to, wealth consciousness and resourcefulness. So wealth consciousness isn't just earning more. And this is something I really want to normalize. Wealth consciousness isn't about bringing more money in. It's about, or I should say it's also about, stewarding what you already have with awareness and self-respect. So resourcefulness says, I pay attention. I ask better questions. I trust myself to lead, and that energy itself compounds. And there's also a nervous system layer here. So scarcity, pesky scarcity, often lives in helplessness. It has sayings like, I don't know what to do, I can't, or I need someone else to fix this. And resourcefulness, operating from that energetic state, teaches the body, I am safe, I am capable, I can respond. And when your nervous system feels that, your relationship with money softens. You stop gripping, you stop panicking, and you start leading. And I want to be really clear. Resourcefulness is not hustle. It's not overfunctioning. It's not doing everything yourself forever. It's about conscious choice, learning what you can do so that when you do outsource, it's from power and not from fear. It's from a sense of leadership and not a sense of autopilot. So before we close, I just want to take a moment to reflect. Where could you potentially practice resourcefulness in a small but empowering way? Or what's one expense, habit, or pattern that you could gently question? And what might shift if you asked yourself, what's actually available to me here? And I'll just leave a little nudge to you. Any area of your life, like if we're speaking in terms of money or expenses, whether that's, your personal life, rent, something like that, or your business, right? If there's any part of you that feels like, oh, this money, like the money that I'm spending isn't feeling good to me anymore, that is a place to look. Because that, for example, is where it started for me with Kajabi. I see the Kajabi payment go out and I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking I'm feeling a little bit differently about this. I'm not feeling like this platform is energetically providing the value that it used to. Okay, so that could be a place to look. So just to tie it all together, resourcefulness has reminded me that wealth isn't just about what you have, it's who you are when life asks you to respond. And if this episode resonated with you and you feel called to go deeper, take a look at the link down below for Core Energy Coaching. I am presently opening 2 spots this month in February for 2 new one-to-one coaching clients. So if you're feeling the call, consider this your invitation, your little nudge. You can fill out the form and that just lets me know how to create the best personalized package for you based on your intentions, your budget, and what you would like to accomplish in our work together. We can also work together in person through Canvo ceremonies and integration work. You can find all the details linked below. That's for people who are specifically traveling to or located in Toronto. And yeah, just thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I will be speaking with you again very soon.